All right, so today this boot has virtually zero wear on it. I think I've put maybe 100 hours on it at the most. And this is a white smoke jumper. It is a hand-rolled welt, and we're gonna tear it down. All right, all the screws are out, so I guess we'll start. This is getting expensive, but it's the only way that I'm really gonna know, what the differences are, and then the only way that you're gonna know, I guess. I mean, cutting them in half is one thing, but that doesn't, tell you, doesn't show you the glue and how everything is bonded together and so on and so forth. I mean, it shows you the internals, which is great, but it's not the full story. So I think this, is probably a little more accurate. Well, the one thing I will say with these boots is this thread is very, 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 very tough. And like the Franks, this has a slip sole. So I'll go ahead and get this cut down and get this cut off, and we'll start peeling. Okay, so if we look at the bottom of this boot, you can see that there's just the single stitch, whereas on like the Franks and the Drews, the double stitch goes all the way through. So I've got all these cut here, so try and get my pliers here and get this peeled off here. My German Shepherd thinks he's dying, so. But he's a young puppy, so if I let him out, he'll jump all over me.
He'll go wide. He'll piece of meat right over you.
And
Be sure.
yeah. Well, this is like the Franks as far as getting this off. Yeah, there's a lot of glue in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the acetone and get this peeled off a lot easier. So before I get any further with the sole, I need to get the heel off, and getting this heel off is like getting the heel off the Franks. The Wesco was actually pretty easy to get off, but again, it's machine lasted, so that is put into a machine, and the machine drives the nails in and everything else. I mean, I don't think it's anything that would, you know, make the heel come off prematurely, but if you got caught on something, and I could certainly see where it might cause an issue, but yeah, this heel is really on there. So this is when you get something that's actually built by hand, and doesn't depend on a lot of machinery. You know, the craftsman can tell because they got and even sometimes when they're hand built, they can come off relatively easy, like what we saw in the JK, and that's just because I think the types of nails that they were using, the nails that they use in the Franks were very large and quite a lot of them. Good God. So this is definitely built for to be beat on, this boot. And, all right, so I'll go ahead and get this off, and I'll show you what the nails look like once we get. All right, so we've got the heel tread off, heel cap, heel tread, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what this is. It's like a little piece of red something there. I don't know if that just denotes what type of sole this is, or it's not a red X sole. It's a white X sole, but anyway, but here's all the nails that are in here, in the washers, that holds the heel in, and we'll go ahead and get these removed, and then let me see how hard these are to take out. Get my smaller. Oh, yeah, I better use the larger ones. And it looks almost like a maze nail. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got ridges in there that hold it in place so they don't back out. But I'll go ahead and get the rest of these out. All right. If you have a heel come off of a white's boot, or at least the smoke jumper, you need to reevaluate what you're doing, because holy shit. There's a lot of nails in there, and you can see they also put a lot of glue, and the glue bonded well. So yeah, that heel ain't coming off. So we'll get the rest of this off, and then we'll take a look at the slip sole. Okay, so we got the outsole off, and you can see there's quite a bit of glue there, and you can see, like the Franks, this is heavily scored, which allows for the bonding between the two surfaces, allows the adhesive to work more effectively. So we'll go ahead and take this off. Now there is a second row of stitching here. You can see on the top there's 2 rows of stitching, and so what they do is they have the slip sole on, and they run 1 row of stitching through that goes through until, which is on the inside, that's through to the slip sole, and then they put the outsole on, and then they put the outer stitching on, and so that's how you end up with 2 of them. So it's a little bit different than like the Franks, where the Franks goes through all of them, unless you get like a double midsole or something like that, where the stitcher won't, you know, go through all those layers. But anyway, and they do have several nails here on the slip sole, and I'm guessing that once we pull this off, there'll be more nails under here, but won't know that until I take it off. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. This is what I found was interesting here, and I wanted to compare these two. So this is the whites, and this is a hand-rolled welt. Okay, the boot that I'm wearing today is actually a Frank's, and it's also a hand-rolled welt. Norwegian hand-rolled welt is what they call it. And I do like the way that it looks, but seeing this firsthand between the two, as far as the construction method is concerned, I could see where the McKay stitch is a more, I guess, dependable, robust, whatever you want to say, construction method. And here's why. So this right here, I got this off here, and you've got this upper, or the vamp, and the footbed is stitched to this vamp and the upper through this hand-rolled welt. So you've got this strip right here. You got this strip of you've got this strip of leather here that is stitched into this here. Okay, it's stitched through the vamp and through the upper and then into the footbed. And then you've got the bottom part, which is stitched through all the way through to the, let me see which one is, where is my, oh, it's right here. So it looks like the inner one, and the inner one on this is going to be, so the hand-rolled welt is stitched through to the slip sole, and then the upper, or the vamp, is stitched all the way through to the outsole. Okay, but anyway, but what you're dependent on keeping the footbed in place is this upper. And you know, for those that have worn boots over a period of time, you know that this will deform after a while. You know, you'll start getting some wrinkles in here, and this will start to flatten, and you are dependent on that to keep this all together. The difference is, so again, just to reiterate, you've got through the welt, through the upper, through the footbed. So on this right here, which this is the Franks, and this has a McKay stitch, you're going through the upper, and you're going through the footbed and through the midsole. So the midsole is what's holding the footbed in place. And this is a much, I think it's probably a stronger bond. And you're not going to have you're less likely to have your insole deform, and you're not dependent on just the upper to kind of keep it in place, so to speak. Plus the fact that you don't have any holes on the outside here, whereas with the hand-rolled welt, you're actually stitching into the upper here, and you've got holes in there. Now initially, you know, it's going to be fine, but over time, as this wears and flexes and stuff, those holes are going to oval out, or I've heard people say wobble out, but whatever, they'll get larger, and then you can get water intrusion through the boot. So I think overall, if you're really dependent on your boots and you really truly want the strongest boot that you can get, I think the McKay stitch is the way to go. And that's just my personal opinion. Just after tearing these down and looking at them firsthand, you know, my builder that I use, this is one of the reasons that I use Frank's, one of several reasons, but this is a good construction method. And this is not unlikely to come apart. And like I said, if this tension is set right on this McKay stitch, you're not going to feel it on the inside. So, but I would say, my number one, as far as ranking these, number one would be Frank's. Number two, definitely White's. And then Wesco would be, I have not worn a Nick, so I have no idea. And I haven't torn one down, so I don't know. But I would say that Wesco would be third. And theirs is, again, a lot of it comes down to the fact that it is machine lasted, versus hand lasting. So I think you get the personal touch with it, and the craftsman or worker can see what's going on, and if some changes need to be made while during the process of building, those adjustments can be made. Whereas with the machine, it's just done. It's just, you stick it in there and thump, it's done. So, but anyway, I just wanted to share that with you as far as the build is concerned. But this White's boot is built, very well. And like I said, if you're looking for something that's durable, and you want something that's maybe a little more aesthetically pleasing, you can certainly go with the hand-rolled welt. Now, the one thing that I will say is the hand-rolled welt and the Whites versus the Franks. With the Whites, you've just got one stitch, you got one stitch holding it in place, whereas with the Franks, you've got two stitches going all the way around here holding the welt and everything together. So, it's two different ways to accomplish, kind of the same thing, but I do like the Franks build, this build here, a little more than I do the Whites. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you. All right, so this right here is the White's shank. This shank is it's bigger, longer than the one that is found in the JK, but it's basically the same thickness. Whereas the Franks is actually a contoured piece that is got a hump in it for that arch. And yeah, this is just a strip of leather is basically all it is. I mean, is it effective? Yeah, I mean, it's a comfortable boot. But I think that I don't know, I think the Franks, they just put more into it than what some of these other manufacturers do. But it doesn't change anything. I still think this is built very well, and this would be my number 2 boot. So, all right, so here is, we've got the vamp off here, and there's the strip for the welt. This right here is a celastic toe, and that will just come off. And then the rest of this, I'm just going to leave this for now, because the rest of the construction is pretty much standard compared to, I would say it's, compared to the Franks, as far as, once everything else here is removed. The one thing I did want to show you is right here, you can see there's all these holes, and that's where the welt, actually not the stitching, the thread goes in and threads through the, and if you were to peel this up here, which maybe I'll go ahead and do that so I can show you that how this actually works. So there is they make a slice in the footbed, in the bottom side of the footbed right here. They make a slice right here. Okay. And the needle, or awl, I should say, goes through here and it pokes a hole. All right. And then your thread goes through this footbed into the upper here, and then through the welt, which would be here. But again, I guess the thing I wanted to show you was the fact that you did have these holes. So that's the one downside, because you don't have anything on the outside here sealing it. The welt does seal it for a period of time, but as wear occurs and stuff, and this flexes and whatnot, those holes are going to get larger and you'll get some water intrusion. So again, it's well constructed. I would, you know, it's my number 2 boot. So if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to you know, give me a shout. I'll be glad to answer anything that I can. If I can't answer it, I'll try and get the answer for you and get back to you. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.